Right-hand pitcher Bob Welch came off the campus of Eastern Michigan University to join the Dodger organization in 1977. Little did he know that after winning 7 games in 1978, he'd be pitching against the New York Yankees in the World Series. Right-hander Orel Hershiser took a much longer road to get to the big leagues. Off the campus of Bowling Green, it took him 5 years to work his way from Clinton through Albuquerque and finally reach the Dodgers and win a major league game. When taking the signs, the pitcher faces the catcher with his square stance. After getting the sign, the pitcher then gets into his pitching position. Front spikes are in the front of the pitching rubber, the head and eyes looking directly at the catcher's glove. Intense concentration, very important.
In learning the curveball, the Dodgers teach a drill that we use starting us off about 45 feet from home plate. And in that drill, we concentrate mostly on the spin and the rotation of the curveball and getting the ball to break down and into the glove. Now, the key to getting the rotation is to keep your elbow up, to keep your fingers on top of the ball, and get a good pulling action on the ball, the front half of the ball, at the very end of the pitch. Now, the key, I think, for that, to get that rotation and to get the spin of the ball and to keep that ball on top, the fingers on top, is that you pretend like you have a board pasted to the side of your wrist here. You keep your arm in a strong lever position, and so that the ball and your arm can come down with the fingers on top. If you let your arm get flimsy, especially your wrist, you get a side rotation on a curveball, which is not good, which what we're not looking for. We want to keep our fingers and our arm and our elbow all up so that we can come down and create a downward rotation into home plate. For my fastball, which is a sinking fastball, I hold the ball with the seams, with my fingers both on top of the seams. I hold my thumb so that it is bisecting my 2 fingers. And as you can see, I hold the ball with a gap between the back of my hand and the ball. The closer I get the ball into my hand, the less velocity I have, but the more control. The farther out I get the ball, the harder I can throw the ball, but the less amount of control I have. So I find a happy medium right in between, which is right about there for me. I have a nice gap for velocity, but I'm close enough on my fingers so that I have good control. And this permits me, at the end of my pitch, to have a snap of the wrist to finish the pitch, which allows the ball to sink.
The grip of my fastball, I hold it across the seams. I'm an overhand pitcher. I'm looking to get a rise on the baseball, and in turn, the rotation would be this way. I get the good flick of the wrist, the good extension, the overhand throw enables my baseball to rise from a seam from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then get kind of a rise on the baseball in this manner. It's the change-up grip. It's the same as my fastball. I'm using a 2-finger grip. I want the spin and rotation to be identical as my fastball. I want my arm to be in the same position as my fastball and everything to look the same with the speed of the baseball. We kill it by just a little drop in the ball. We have our pressures on our knuckle joints. We have the same overhand delivery as my fastball. As I'm throwing the ball, it's over the top. I want good extension, and my fingers even kind of come off the baseball. I have good arm extension, and I'm following through right towards home plate. And when I get out in front, I act as if I'm pulling down the window shade and continuing to follow through the same pace as my fastball.
A pitcher should feel free to shake off the sign. The shake-off has a psychological effect on the batter's mind. It gets him thinking, what is the pitch going to be? When the batter guesses, his guess is likely to be off. The shaking of the head definitely has a place in the pitcher's makeup. In order to become a success in the major leagues, a young pitcher must learn how to hold base runners on. Dodger pitchers are taught to get on the rubber, come set, and then hit the target on the wall, which would normally be a first baseman. Once this is learned, a man is on his way to the big leagues. With a runner on first base, an important factor in pitching in this position is to keep the runner close to the base, and the game situation controls this. Naturally, the closer the game, the more often the pitcher must throw to first base. There are two ways for the pitcher to accomplish this. The first way is to maintain contact with the rubber and step toward the bag. You'll see a quick turning motion with the left foot stepping right toward first base. The other way of attempting a pickoff of a runner at first base is to jump off the rubber, and then speed becomes the ally and the weapon. You do not maintain contact with the rubber, but instead the element of surprise. Some pitchers assume the improper position of keeping the left shoulder too far to the left. This enables them to see the runner, but when they begin their motion toward home plate, the first part of the body to move is the left shoulder. This is a tip-off, and alert base runners will break for second as soon as the left shoulder moves toward home plate. The high leg kick is also a giveaway when the pitcher is throwing home. It should be eliminated. The stance is almost the same as a runner on first, except the right-hand pitcher faces third a bit more. The head and eyes are directly facing toward third. From this position, the pitcher will look back toward second, then look toward home and throw. At times, they will look back to second more than once in order to keep the runner on second from taking a bigger lead. Do not look back to second just once, period. Runners on second can be made to stay close to the base through the use of the daylight play. On this play, the pitcher pivots just as soon as he sees daylight between the second base runner and the shortstop. When the pitcher sees daylight between the runner and the shortstop, he turns his head slowly to where he is facing third base, and then he quickly wheels and pivots beyond a 180-degree angle and throws the ball to second base. When trying to pick off runners at second, both the right-hand and left-hand pitchers turn toward the gloved-hand side, and they have their stepping foot a little beyond a 180-degree angle. The daylight play is locked and on unless the play is called off. The locked play is off, and the pitcher throws to the plate when the shortstop raises his right hand parallel to the ground. These actions unlock the play, and the pitcher then throws to the plate. Every pitcher should get into the habit of starting toward first base on all balls hit to his left. The pitcher starts rapidly for first on a straight line and tags the base with his right foot as he catches the ball. When a pitcher has men on base against him, he is always taught to concentrate on his follow-through. Then, when a force play or double play is in order and a ball is hit directly back to him, he is ready to make the play. Upon fielding the ball, the pitcher must turn and be ready to throw to either the shortstop or second baseman. He waits a split second in order to allow the infielder to get near the base. Then he leads him by throwing the ball shoulder level between the infielder and the base.
With my philosophy on pitching, I believe there's three things that can happen to the baseball when it leaves your hand. There's location of the pitch, that's spot pitching, inside and outside. There's change of direction of the ball, that's a curveball, a slider, or a knuckleball. And then there's velocity of the pitch, how fast you throw it. Do you throw it fast or do you throw it slow? I believe the most important thing of these three is location, the spot that you throw the ball, either inside and outside. You see, some hitters have a tendency to like the inside pitch, some hitters have a tendency to like the outside pitch. Now, I believe that for a hitter that likes the inside pitch, we can throw away from him, so the location is the most important part. The second most important part is change of direction, whereas if we can put a curve or a spin on the ball and change the direction so we'll throw the hitter off. And the last thing that's most important is velocity, because how hard or how soft you throw the ball cannot be taught. That's a God-given ability, and it's something that you can learn later on, maybe with some mechanics. But of the three things, I think location and spot pitching, secondly, change of direction, and third, I think velocity. I believe there's two ways that you can set up a batter in trying to get him out. One way is that you convince the batter what pitch is coming and you throw the opposite pitch. The other way is that you convince the batter what pitch is coming, you throw that pitch, but you throw it in an area where he has trouble hitting it. Let's take a batter that has a bad tendency to swing at bad curveballs. You set him up so he knows that a curveball is coming, but you throw the curveball in the dirt so it's in an area where he cannot hit it. Let's take the other way of setting up the hitter. You set up a hitter so that he thinks a curveball is coming, but you throw him the fastball. So you deceive him in two different ways. One way, you freeze him because he doesn't know the pitch. The other way, he knows the pitch, but it's in an area where he cannot hit it. The day of the game is very important, not only because it's the game day, but because it's a preparation day. Before the game starts, the pitcher has a job. He has to be ready to go out and pitch. And the way I prepare myself is that I'll get up in the morning and I'll have a good breakfast. I'll have some pancakes so I can get some good carbohydrates. Then about 2 to 3 hours before I go to the ballpark, I'll have some more pasta like I did the night before. And then as I get to the ballpark, it takes me about 45 minutes to get to the ballpark. I'll arrive at the ballpark trying to be mentally relaxed and staying loose. And I'll go into my game preparation of starting to review the hitters, review the Dodger scouting reports, because we have a lot of advanced scouting reports on the hitters to see who's hot, who's not, who are their best hitters, who are their big RBI men, who are their stolen base people, so that I'm familiar. When I get on that field, I know their team inside and out. The next thing that I'll do is about an hour before the game, I'll go to our trainer and I'll get a rub down, and I'll start to relax, and he'll get my muscles and my arm prepared to pitch. 20 minutes before the game, I go down to warm up, and I start warming up in the bullpen. And the key to my warm-ups is that I want to get every pitch that I'm going to use in the game that night ready at that moment. And I don't want to peak too soon down there because I have 20 minutes. I want to stay relaxed for the first 10 minutes and just get my muscles loose and relax. And by the end of the 20 minutes, the last 10 minutes, I'm almost pitching like I'm in the game. And very end of the warm-ups, I'll probably pitch to 2 or 3 hitters, maybe the top of their lineup, so that when I get out in the game, I'm not exposed to something new. I'm making pitches that I've already made in the bullpen. And then I'm ready to go out and play. It's been a real pleasure talking with you people today. I hope I've relayed some information to you on the Dodger way to play baseball. And good luck out there, and always work hard. Remember, practice makes perfect.
I'd like to personally thank the people involved for this, and for all of you who are watching, and I hope you learned something. At the same time, I know today I have learned something myself, and wish everybody the best of luck in the Dodger way to play baseball. There's no other way. Thank you.
I think one of the major factors in the success of a team is knowing when to change pitchers. A lot of times a manager or a coach doesn't realize when a pitcher is beginning to lose his effectiveness and his stuff. Here are some tips that I think that are causing a pitcher to lose his stuff and he begins to have problems throwing the ball over the plate. Number one is usually a pitcher, when he starts getting tired, his arm begins to drop down. And when he starts dropping his arm down, consequently, the majority of his pitches will be thrown high. And this is what we call bad territory as far as a pitcher is concerned. There are many more high ball hitters in baseball than there are low ball hitters. So when this pitcher starts to tire, his arm begins to drop, and consequently he throws his rhythm off, and then he starts getting the ball up. That is one sign that a pitcher is beginning to tire. Another sign is when he starts to lose his effectiveness on his control. He starts to keeping the ball very serious. When you see a pitcher, the ball starts going in different areas, now you know he is beginning to lose his stuff. That's the time you have to take them out. You also must know the hitter that he's going to be facing in a crucial situation. If, for say, you got a left-handed pitcher and a right-handed hitter, will you be better off bringing in the right-handed pitcher to face that right-handed hitter, or would you be better off having the left-handed pitcher throwing to the right-handed batter? These are all the decisions that a manager must make, or a coach, when it's time to take a pitcher out.
The catching position makes no unusual physical demands. Physically, the catcher can be tall or short, slender or large frame. The definite requirements are a quick, accurate, and strong throwing arm, an agile body so that the catcher can shift in front of the pitched balls, and the ability to lead and direct the defense. The catcher is an important cog in the strength through the middle defense. He is in an excellent position to direct the defense as the entire playing field and all the players are before him. The catcher gives the signs to the pitcher while squatting close to the batter. Right knee points directly at the pitcher. Right wrist is placed under the chest protector in his right groin. The gloved hand is extended over the left knee with the pocket of the glove facing the plate. This hides the signs from the first and third base coaches. The catcher should frequently inquire of the first and third baseman if they can see the signs. If they can, it's possible that the first and third base coaches can too. The only players that need to see the signs are the pitcher, the shortstop, and the second baseman. Many games have been lost because of the catcher's carelessness, allowing the opposition to see his calls. This should not occur. The catcher must take care to hide his signs. The pitch out can be signaled in numerous ways. With a runner on first or runners on first and third, the wiggling fingers may be used. If the pitch out is called for the express purpose of throwing to second, the pitch out is always thrown away from the batter. After the sign has been given, the catcher assumes a balanced and comfortable crouch position. This stance brings him as close to the batter as possible without interfering with his swing. The close-up position enables the catcher to catch many balls within the strike zone that might be called balls if caught further back. This is especially true of curveballs and low pitches in general. Since the catcher must please the pitcher, he must give the target that the pitcher desires. Most pitchers prefer to use the glove or hand target. For this target, the hands are held motionless with the thumbs close together and the fingers pointing upward. Some catchers place the bare hand behind the gloved hand when giving the target. Others place the bare hand just below the glove pocket. The smart catcher always knows what type of pitcher he is catching. He knows each pitcher's idiosyncrasies and strong points. He calls for the pitches and gives his target accordingly. Most good receivers fold their bare hand into a half-closed, relaxed fist position while waiting to catch the ball. In this way, if the ball is fouled back, he doubles the hand into a fist. It may bruise the hand, but it seldom causes injury. If the fingers are hit while extended, serious injury could occur. The ball should be caught one-handed with two hands. Paradoxical as this may seem, there is much soundness to it. Just as the ball enters the glove, the bare hand is brought over the ball by the catcher. This prevents a possible injury as the bare hand does not stick out unprotected.
We're going to work on blocking low pitches in the dirt. Just push them in front of you. As long as that runner sees that ball in front of you, he'll never try to run. He'll run once he sees it get by you. So just try to push the ball in front of you. Don't try to catch it. Push it in front of you. That's it. It's right there. Good. But always be in that position to go forward and get on your knees to block it. That's it. And another thing, always keep a habit of looking down at the dirt to see where the ball is. A lot of catchers throw their head up in the air. Very good. As long as you keep your body ready to go forward and down on both knees to block it. Good. And keep in mind to push that ball with your glove if you have to. Don't try to catch it. It's a very important technique. And it gives your pitcher confidence that he can bounce the ball up there with two strikes and you will protect it and protect him. That's all. You're doing it fine. All right, Mike, we're going to talk about catching the ball in the horseshoe. Up pitches and low pitches. Now the pitch up there, you'll always catch and you can bring it up. But the low pitch, when you catch it, if you catch it with your glove facing the dirt, you have to catch it going down and come up here to throw, which is going in a circle. You have to turn your glove over and catch it coming up. Perfect, that's it. Then you're able to bring it right straight up to your ear and throw. And not take that windmill motion throwing it in a circle. That's what you call the horseshoe throw. Very good.
The catcher must get into the habit of returning the ball to the pitcher to his gloved hand side about chest level. This conserves the pitcher's energy, as he does not have to reach far to his right or left or even jump for poorly thrown balls. Generally, the catcher throws overhand, seldom sidearm, and very seldom underhand. Good throwing is based on good body balance. As the catcher receives the pitch and prepares to throw, his body balance or weight should rest on his rear or right foot. The left or stepping foot is merely used as a guide. Accuracy and quickness of the thrown ball are dependent on how quickly the proper body balance is established, plus the speed of releasing the ball. Most catchers use a bent arm position as a preliminary to throwing the ball. It's done by cocking the arm with the ball held just behind the right ear. This is used because it is the best method of getting the ball away quickly. If a catcher has difficulty in throwing when he has the catching equipment on, he should be made to take infield and batting practice while wearing the mask, shin guards, and chest protector. This usually helps to overcome this weakness. A common fault with young catchers is the taking of too many steps. This bad habit uses up too much time and allows the base runner to run a good distance before the ball is thrown. A good drill is the one-step drill. In this drill, the catcher receives the ball with his weight already on his right foot, steps with his left, the guiding foot, and throws. This is practiced on the sidelines or during infield practice. The catcher is often involved in many fielding plays. The most common are the top balls or bunts in front of the plate. When fielding these balls, the catcher uses two hands, the glove acting as a shield or scoop. The catcher is guided by the instructions of the pitcher or one of the infielders. If the throw is to be made to first, the catcher tries to throw to the inside of first base in fair territory so that he does not hit the base runner. The first thing the catcher must do on pop flies is discard the mask. If he does not have far to run and has time, he throws the mask in the direction opposite to which he is going. This prevents the catcher from stepping on the mask and possibly missing the catch. With runners on first and third, the catcher can do any one of three things to combat a double steal. He can look the runner on third back to the base, throw through to second in an attempt to get the runner going from first to second. He can throw the ball straight back to the pitcher without looking at third. This throw should be just over the pitcher's head, so the runner on third thinks it's going on through to second. Or the catcher can make a full bluff throw as if he is throwing to second and then quickly throws to third base. The catcher should anticipate a steal, and if the situation warrants, he should call for a pitch out in a close ball game. Pitch outs are seldom used for when a team is far behind or far ahead in the score. The pitch out is a valuable defensive play if the hit and run signal has been picked up or anticipated. Obviously, it's difficult for the batter to hit the pitch out. Consequently, the catcher has a good chance of throwing out the runner. A pitch out is sometimes used when the catcher wants to find out whether the offensive team is going to bunt or hit away. In most instances, however, the manager or coach should call for the pitch out.
I'm going to demonstrate right now the incorrect way to block home plate. The incorrect way to block home plate is when, as the runner is coming down, I have my side towards the runner. And as the runner comes in, you can see how my knees, my hip, and my ribs are exposed to the runner. And it will increase the chance of injury to myself. And I'm straight up and down. Now the proper way to block home plate is to always be facing the runner, no matter where the throw is coming from in the outfield. I always want to be square to the runner and as low as I can be. If I'm as low as I can be, I can move and adjust to the throw, and the runner has two options. He can either try to knock me over, and where all he's going to do is go over my shoulder, and I will not be injured, or he's going to try to slide. And if he tries to slide, I'm right down there so I can put the tag on him. So you always want to be facing the runner and be as low as you can when you block home plate, and concentrate on the ball, because without the ball, there's no use being there. Once you establish your proper position for blocking home plate, there's one key thing to remember. The catcher never wants to reach out for the throw in this manner, catching it and bringing it back. The ball will travel much quicker than you can catch the ball and bring it back. So I want to await the throw back here in my position, and the ball will get to you much quicker, and it could mean the difference between the runner being safe or out. I hope anything I've shown you here today will be informative, and I hope you've had fun watching. Remember, catching is the most important position, and have fun playing it. Thank you very much.
Before every practice session or game, sufficient time should be allowed for the warming up of the muscles in the throwing arm. About 15 minutes of throwing is usually enough. During the warm-up, the shortstop and second baseman should throw to each other. This will acquaint these players with each other's throwing motion, and it will become an easy matter for them to follow the ball. Every infielder should know before the game begins the condition of the playing field. Is it fast, or do the balls bounce slowly? Usually when the ground is hard, the ball will bounce fast and high. If it has rained and the field is soft, the ball will tend to stay close to the ground. Infielders should notice from which direction the wind is blowing. This can be done by plucking some grass, throwing it into the air, or looking at the flag to see which way it is facing. Many games have been lost by the misjudgment of a pop fly in a strong wind. It's wise to get a mental picture of how far the stands are in the event the infielder is chasing a foul ball. This little observation may save a ball game or prevent an unnecessary injury. The observant infielder will have watched the opposition during their batting practice. He knows even before the batter steps up to the plate what type of hitter he is, where he is most apt to hit the ball, and how fast a runner he is. If the batter is extremely fast, the infielder must shorten the distance between himself and the batter by moving in about 2 or 3 steps before assuming his fielding stance. Since the pitch ball obviously has to be hit by the hitter's bat, it's reasonable that the infielder must watch the bat. The toes should be slightly pointed out to facilitate movement in either direction. The knees slightly bent, weight evenly distributed on the balls of the feet. The hands are placed on the knees or alongside the body. As the pitcher throws the ball plateward, the entire body should be leaning slightly forward. A body in motion tends to remain in motion. A body at rest tends to remain at rest. There are some don'ts at this point. Don't have body weight on the heels of the feet. Don't spread the feet too far apart. Don't point the toes in, and don't keep the knees straight. When the ball comes off the bat, the infielder must move toward the ball. If the ball is hit to either side, he must use a crossover step. If the ball is hit to the shortstop's right, his first step is with his left foot. The foot that moves first is that opposite from the side to which the infielder is going. The infielder gets a better jump on the ball in this manner. If a short step is taken with the right foot when going to the right, the infielder has lost time, as he must still bring his left foot around. Moving toward the ball is important, as it enables the infielder to get in front of the ball, use up less time in fielding the ball, and play the hop. As the infielder moves, he must follow the first fundamental of keep your eyes on the ball. It's only by concentrating on the ball that the infielder can adjust to the quick and sudden changes that sometimes occur. As the infielder approaches the ball, his eyes are on it. He has spread his legs apart, knees bent, buttocks are low. This low body position enables him to see the ball clearly. It also enables the fielder to get his arms away from the body, and as the ball enters the glove, there's a slight give of the hands, which are relaxed. If the ball stays low, he's already in the low position. If it takes a sudden big bounce, he straightens his knees and comes up quickly. Fielding the ball in front of the body has much merit because if the infielder boots the ball, he may still be able to retrieve it and retire the runner. Seldom possible if the ball is fielded on the side. When catching the ball, it should be kept in mind catching with 2 hands is surer than catching the ball one-handed. In a two-handed catch, the throwing hand is already on the ball, which makes it easier and quicker to get the ball away. Of course, there are some plays which come up that can only be fielded with one hand. Let the one-hand catch of balls be limited to these plays. The infielder's throw is more of a snap throw. It's needed for quick action and the shortness of the throw. Infielders generally have to get rid of the ball from the position in which they field it. Most infielders who throw well have a good forearm and wrist snap, which gives the ball good carry and still enables them to throw the ball quickly. Some infielders get into the bad habit of catching the ball and dropping their hands before throwing. Others will catch the ball and then bring their hands in close to the body. These preliminary movements only waste time. It allows the infielder less time to retire the runner and increases the chances of a hurried and bad throw. As in all sports, most of the foot action is from the back foot to the front foot. The infielder must therefore place his feet in such a position as he is fielding the ball that he can throw from that position without taking unnecessary steps. A common fault among young players is the taking of too many steps before throwing the ball. Some infielders throw a ball that is hard to handle or to hold, and this happens when the infielder, upon release of the ball, twists his hand and wrist so that the ball veers from the straight line or its objective. A good method to develop proper throwing technique is as follows. Players are asked to throw a baseball to each other while they are on their knees. At first, they're started off at 4 yards apart. Then the players are moved 8 yards apart and then 10. It's an excellent method of teaching young Little League and juvenile players the correct technique of throwing a baseball. The shortstop position should be nicknamed the busy man's corner. The shortstop is an important player on a ball club, and the qualifications for this position are most exacting and important. The shortstop must usually field the ball without fumbling it even momentarily because of the great distance between his position and first. He seldom has time to straighten up to throw. Therefore, the ball must be thrown from the position in which it is fielded. There are many difficult throws from the shortstop position. A slow-bounding ball just past the pitcher makes it necessary for a quick off-balance underhand flip throw to be used. A play deep in the infield near third calls for a long, powerful throw. The shortstop gives the sign to the second baseman as to who will cover second on a possible steal. He hides his face from the opposition with his glove and gives open and closed mouth signs. Open mouth means the second baseman will cover, closed mouth the shortstop. The shortstop will play the hitters where they are most apt to hit the ball. When playing the likely double play ball, the shortstop must get to the ball as quickly as possible. The start of the double play is dependent upon the first throw or toss. A poor throw to the second baseman will pull him out of position and off balance, thus losing the double play. It's better to take a split second longer and make an accurate throw than to hurry the play and throw the ball low or wide. Making a double play always starts with practice. A lot of practice and a lot of hard work. Infielders constantly going to the bag, accustoming themselves to each other's toss. An accurate toss, a kick of the bag, and a strong, accurate throw to first. It is not by accident that the double play in the big leagues has a ballet-like quality to it. When the double play ball is fielded near second base, the ball should be tossed at the second baseman's face with the bare hand. This is because the second baseman can see the ball all the way. Inexperienced infielders will make this throw with two hands or just the gloved hand, but this is not a good practice as the second baseman may lose sight of the ball. When the shortstop fields the ball to his right, he must adjust his body and slide his right foot so that he is in a good throwing position. This throw is a sidearm throw, and the glove or body should not hide the ball. As the shortstop is about 2 yards away from the bag, he gets under body control and places his right foot just behind the base. After he catches the ball, he drags his right toes over the outer edge of second base and throws to first in the same motion. Another method is to step on the base with the left foot, step toward the inner side of the diamond, and as the right foot hits the ground, throw the ball to first base. Another way of tagging the base by the shortstop is one he uses when he can field the ball and make the play by himself. The shortstop should begin his throw and step on second as he is releasing the ball. The ball cannot be thrown until the front foot hits the base. On a single to right with no one on, the second baseman comes all the way to the base, faces the right fielder, and takes the throw. The shortstop backs him up on the play. Second base differs from shortstop in that on most plays, the second baseman has more time than the shortstop, and he can therefore play the ground ball slower and a bit safer. On hard hit balls, the second baseman can even block the ball, retrieve, and still throw the runner out. The second baseman also has quite a bit of territory to cover. He must range from deep behind second base to his right and far over to his left. On ground balls hit to his left that he can field, the second baseman yells, "I've got it." This call makes up the first baseman's mind, and he then runs to cover first. The second baseman must be able to go back of second base and deep behind the first baseman for fly balls. He must try to catch every ball unless one of the outfielders calls for it. When the outfielder yells, "I've got it," the second baseman answers, "Take it." This assures the outfielder that there'll be no body contact, and he's at ease while catching the ball. On attempted steals, when making a tag, all infielders must bear in mind that the runner literally tags himself out. The second baseman, upon seeing that the runner is going for second, breaks for the base. He straddles the bag with both feet, right foot on the third base side, left foot on the right field side. The catcher's throw is caught with two hands whenever possible, but the tag is made with the gloved hand only, preventing the bare hand from being cut by the runner's spikes. At no time must a tag be made at a feet-first sliding runner with the ball in the bare hand. There are three methods of feeding the ball to the shortstop for the double play: the underhand throw or toss, the counterclockwise throw or toss, and the normal throw with hip pivot. The underhand toss is used only when the second baseman fields the ball very near second. On this play, the second baseman fields the ball with two hands, tosses the ball at the shortstop's face. This is done by flipping the wrist in an upward motion, the palm of a hand facing the shortstop upon release of the ball. The counterclockwise toss is used when the second baseman fields the ball from 3 to 6 yards away from second base. This type of throw is used because the second baseman on the play is too far for the underhand toss, but too close for the normal type of throw. As the ball is fielded with two hands, it is flipped at the shortstop's face with a counterclockwise motion of the hand. There are times when the second baseman is a good distance from the bag. On this play, the procedure is as follows. The second baseman should turn his body so he can field the ball on his throwing side, taking a long step with his left foot and throwing at the shortstop's face all in one motion. Care must be taken to allow the shortstop to see the ball all the way. Do not hide the ball at any time. There are many ways of making the double play. The Dodgers teach 4 methods. As explained earlier, we expose the second baseman to these 4 methods, plus the introductory method of straddling the base. Because on different plays and from different angles of receiving the throw, the double play must be varied if it is to be successful. For example, if a second baseman makes a play the same way all the time, the runners will slide into him, possibly breaking up the double play. These 4 methods are dragging the left foot over the base, stepping on the bag with the left foot, stepping on the bag with the right foot, and shifting toward left field, dragging the left foot. As the second baseman gets under body control, he gauges the speed of the thrown ball, times the play so that he steps across second base with his right foot. He then drags or scrapes the top portion of his left foot or toes over second. Since his body weight is on his right foot, he's in an excellent throwing position as he throws to first, pivoting on his left foot upon release of the ball. This is all done inside of the diamond area. This is an excellent method of making the double play, as the second baseman can time the play so that he actually catches the ball on the other side of second, thus saving time. This procedure is as follows. The second baseman steps on the right field portion of second base with his left foot. He then quickly steps back after taking the throw, transfers his weight to his right foot, and throws to first. This action should be a 1-2-3 rhythmical affair. Rhythm must be stressed when teaching this double play method. Also call out step on bag, shift to right foot, throw. You can suggest that your second baseman practice this drill in front of a full-length mirror at home. It will help. On this play, the ball must be timed so that the second baseman catches the throw a split second before or just as he touches the base. Then, as his weight is on his right foot on the bag, he steps toward first with his left foot and throws, pivoting his body as he releases the ball, so that if he is hit by the base runner, he gives with the impact. Some second basemen make the mistake of resisting the contact made by the sliding runner. Do not resist if the runner is going to hit you, but roll your body and you will not get hurt. This method of making the double play is good to use when the throw is made to the first base side of second base. Good body action and agility is a must, however, if the runner is to be eluded. On occasions with a runner on first and less than 2 out, the second baseman can tag the runner when fielding the ground ball on the baseline and quickly throw to first for the double play. When making the tag, the runner should not be chased if he goes out of the baseline, as he will be called out anyway. If the runner stops as you are facing him, make a quick throw to first, retiring the batter. Then you have the runner caught in a rundown play, retiring him for the second out.
We find out that some of our infielders might have what we call stiff hands or hard hands. And what this does, when they go to field the ball, they tighten up their wrists, which causes their hands to become stiff, rather than soft hands with a slight give. Now, this drill that we're going to show you, Mariano Duncan is going to field these ground balls without a glove. And consequently, when he catches the ball with no glove, he has to have soft hands, or else he'll hurt his hands or he'll hurt his fingers. And this is a drill that we use to teach them how to soften and give with the hands as they receive the ball. Okay, Mariano. Nice and easy. Soft hands. He cannot stiffen those wrists and catch that ball like that. Okay, our next demonstration is we have 2 infielders, the middle infielders, and they're going to be working together. And now both of them are going to be throwing the ball to the trap wall, to the target, fielding balls. You have seen infielders working on their body balance, getting themselves in position to field the ball, throwing the ball to a target, catching the ball, watching it going into his glove, having themselves in complete control of their body balance with soft hands. Now we're going to show you how we take and teach them to work in feeding the ball on a double play. He wants that guy to see the ball. Don't throw it in here. Don't throw it down here. Don't in any way try to deceive the baseman that you're feeding the ball to. Now we're going to go from the shortstop to the second baseman.
Second baseman and shortstop have to know each other's habits. The timing play for the double play often dictates the outcome of the game.
I know, I have to know, it's very important.
That's why it's good for all young people to practice and practice over and over again.
A good outfielder gets a quick start on all balls hit to the outfield. The center fielder is usually the best defensive outfielder, and he is the unannounced captain of the outfield. The right fielder should possess a strong throwing arm, as this prevents runner from going from first to third on singles to right. An outfielder must have knowledge of the batters and base runners, knowledge of the playing conditions, the condition of the outfield terrain, the wind, and the geographical features of the field. As the batter approaches the plate, the outfielder shifts his position to where the batter is most apt to hit the ball. Baseball is a game of percentages. If a batter hits 8 balls to left and 2 to right in 10 at-bats, the law of percentages dictates that the batter be played to left field. The thoughtful outfielder knows each batter's power, and he is familiar with his running speed and the speed of the base runners. He also knows what to do with the ball if it is hit to him. If the ball is handled by another outfielder, he assists by calling the play or backing him up. Is it fast, or is the grass high, thus slowing up the ball? Is the ground smooth or rough and bumpy? When the ground is rough, it is hard to run on, and it is difficult to field ground balls cleanly. All outfielders should from time to time observe in which direction the wind is blowing. This can be done by looking at the flagpole to see which way the flag is facing. Since every field is different, the outfielder should familiarize himself with the physical features of the stands, how the shadows affect the catching of the ball, the position of the sun, whether it's a cloudy sky or not, and how far his position is from the stands or fences. While in the preliminary stance, the outfielder must watch the bat. The toes are pointed out to facilitate movement in either direction. The knees are bent with the body weight evenly distributed on the balls of the feet, and the hands are placed on the knees or alongside of the body. Outfielders judge fly balls by the sound of the bat against the ball and the speed of the ball in the air. Outfielders must not attempt to time the catch. Rather, they should run to the spot where they think the ball will be, camp under it, and make the catch. For quick starts to either side, the crossover step is used. The right foot crossing over when turning left, the left foot crossing over when turning right. On fly balls hit near the fence, the catch is made by running first to the fence and then alongside of it, if there is sufficient time. If the outfielder attempts to catch the ball while running into the fence, there's the chance the ball may be dropped when contact is made. The most difficult play for an outfielder is the ball hit directly over his head, especially the line drive. On this play, the outfielder must quickly decide whether he should turn to his left or to his right. The natural ability to go back on fly balls is a sign of a good outfielder. However, much practice in going back on fly balls can improve any outfielder's ability to make this play. At some time or other, all outfielders have to play the ball out of the sun. One method of shielding the sun's rays is to extend the gloved hand in front of the face or over the head, depending on the arc of the fly ball. The outfielder sights the ball either above or below the glove, makes the catch at the last possible moment. Inexperienced players attempt to shield the sun with the bare hand. Obviously, this is incorrect, as the bare hand shields a much smaller area than the gloved hand. Professional teams are equipped with sunglasses, and colleges and semi-professional teams are also supplied with them. Whenever possible, the outfielder catches the ball with two hands. This is a surer method than the one-hand catch, and in addition, the throwing hand is already on the ball, thus enabling the outfielder to release the ball quickly. On balls caught above the chest, the back of the glove is held toward the outfielder's face. On balls caught below the chest, the glove faces the sky. Just as the ball is caught, there's a slight give of the hands and wrists. This procedure softens the impact of the ball when hitting the glove, and it aids the fielder in holding the ball. All outfielders should run on the balls of their feet when fielding the ball. Heel running jars the player's vision and also makes the arms and hands move unnecessarily. This action makes the catching of the ball difficult. The outfielder must also be able to field ground balls. The body position the outfielder assumes while fielding a ground ball depends upon the speed of the batter, the runner or runners, the score, and the game situation. If the outfielder has plenty of time, he makes sure that the ball will not get by him by dropping to one knee. If a hurried return throw is necessary, the outfielder charges the ball and plays it like an infielder. Outfielders who are not proficient in this can improve by practicing occasionally as infielders. The calling of plays in the outfield is very important. When an outfielder is not actually fielding the ball, he helps his fellow outfielder by calling out, "Lots of room, you have it," if a ball can be caught, although near a fence. He also advises the outfielder what base to throw to, as the player making the play may have his back to the infield. When fly balls are hit between two outfielders, the outfielder in the best position to make the play yells, "I've got it." The other outfielder answers, "Take it." This assures the outfielder who has called for the ball that there is a mutual understanding on the play. He catches the ball without fear of bodily contact. Outfielders should make it a habit of calling out, "I've got it," and "Take it." It is best for the outfielder to field the ball on his throwing side and make his throw overhand. He tries to throw the ball low so it will bounce once before the infielder or catcher receives it. Throws at the plate are aimed at the cutoff man so that he can cut the ball off if the play calls for it, or relay it to the catcher. Remember, an outfielder must have knowledge of the batter and base runners, knowledge of the playing conditions, the condition of the outfield terrain, the wind, and the geographical features of the field. Good batting form begins with good mental and visual concentration. Notice how intently Mike Marshall is concentrating, focusing on the ball from the time it leaves the pitcher's hand until the bat hits the ball. Marshall's swing has rhythm and balance. He steps to hit. He does not step and hit. He takes a short, controlled stride. This forward stride transfers the body weight from the back foot to the front foot so that he hits against a firm front leg. Observe the following good hitting fundamentals. The bat is quiet, no preliminary movement of the bat. The bat is cocked and ready. The head and eyes are on the ball upon contact, actually behind the ball and with the head tilting downward. The chin goes from shoulder to shoulder. The belly button opens up for an accelerated swing on pitches from the middle of the plate on in. On outside pitches or slower pitches, the batter waits a bit longer. The arms are extended and the wrists are snapped. They're then locked upon contact. After an extended lock of the wrists roll over on the same plane as the swing. Notice that the front leg is straight, the front foot firm, with the back heel raised off the ground. Notice Guerrero's aggressiveness. Pedro is up to hit. He's known as a Bible hitter. Thou shalt not pass. When batters who have been on a hot streak are asked, why are you hitting so well? The answer is generally the same. I'm waiting longer. I'm seeing the ball better. Anxiety makes batters get on their front foot too soon. There are two types of batters. The aggressive hitter mentally says, I'm going to hit every pitch, but I'll take it if it's a ball. Whereas the defensive batter says, I am not going to swing unless it's a strike. This little time interval makes for a slower and more timid swing. Be aggressive. Some believe the ability to bat is purely a natural thing, and that if a batter cannot hit, nothing can help him. Others are of the opinion that if the batter has fairly good reflexes and his weaknesses are not too pronounced, he can be helped. The latter opinion is more acceptable, as many weak batters have developed into fair or good hitters. This may be the result of learning to lay off bad pitches, learning to hit to the opposite field, or learning to hit the curveball. There are not many natural hitters in baseball. They are the exception rather than the rule. Batters who were weak hitters early in their careers sometimes become good hitters through some adjustment or change at the bat. The batter's stance should be comfortable. Head and eyes face the pitcher, hands and elbows away from the body. This allows for freedom of the arms and wrists as the swing begins. The relative position in the batter's box is an individual selection. There's no general rule, except that the batter must be in balance, at ease, and he must be able to reach the ball in the strike zone. Eventually, they discover by actual trial whether they get better results standing away from or close to the plate, or to the rear or forward in the batter's box. Professional players, as a rule, stand in the rear portion of the box with the distance from the plate varying because of the length of the arms and the individual batting style. There are batters who take a stance facing directly toward home plate when standing alongside of it, with the feet almost in a parallel position. This is a normal stance. The majority of hitters adopt it, as any pitch can be hit from this position if the batter has the necessary hitting ability. Some players assume a stance with the front foot closer to home plate than the rear foot. The body position has the batter's back slightly turned toward the pitcher. The hitter watches the ball over his front shoulder. The original stance is not so important, but how the batter reacts is. If the batter cannot reach or hit certain pitches, then he must experiment until he acquires a stance that enables him to meet these pitches. When he feels he can best hit all types of pitches from a certain position, he should stay with that stance. The stride or step is very important in hitting. The short stride with very little forward movement of the head and body is essential for success in batting. The player who takes a short step controls his forward motion and is properly balanced. This enables him to focus his eyes better on the ball as his vision is steady. Some batters take too long a stride toward the pitcher. These batters are called overstriders, and there's a correlation between overstriding and a lack of success in hitting. Assume the batter has an imaginary line running from the middle of his head down past his nose to the ground. Now, when the stride takes place, the head and body should not go much beyond that imaginary line. If it does, the batter is guilty of overstriding. All good hitters have good hand and arm action, the bat held back and about on the level of the shoulders. The hands, however, may be held lower. The high position of the bat enables the batter to hit the high pitch as well as the low. If the bat is held low, the low balls may be hit, but difficulty is encountered in hitting the high pitches. The batter must of necessity swing up. Power comes from the shoulders, hips, arms, and wrists. The length of the arc, the speed of the swing determine how hard the ball is hit. Players who use an end grip and hold the bat well back create a big arc with the bat when they swing. Players who use a choke grip generally take a short swing as they just try to meet the ball. Obviously, the batters with the long swing and the quick acceleration have power. Nevertheless, the batter with the compact fast swing makes good contact and still has good power. The batter who maintains level hips and level shoulders and does not lift his front elbow will have a fairly level swing. Some hitters will uppercut or swing up at the ball, thus becoming fly ball hitters. Uppercutting is a result of dipping the rear hip or dropping the rear shoulder while in the act of swinging, while also raising the front elbow. Obviously, the batter finds it easier to hit the ball if his swing is parallel to the ground, as the ball is approaching on the same plane. This is not true, however, if the swing is of the uppercut variety. Curling the bat occurs when the fat end of the bat moves forward toward the pitcher. This makes for a big arc and slows up bat speed. In a proper follow-through, the entire body is used. After the stride is taken, the bat meets the ball, the arms, shoulders, wrists, and hands bring the bat through, so that the batting swing ends up at a position in the middle of the player's back. The following summary on proper batting form is given. As the batter swings the bat, his head is still facing the plate. If his head turns with the swing before the ball is hit, there's little chance the batter will hit the ball hard or even at all, as his head and eyes are not looking at the ball. The first rule, keep your head and eyes on the ball. The chin should go from shoulder to shoulder. Players who take a level cut usually do so because the shoulders and hips are level. Any movement of the shoulders or the lifting of the front elbow prevents the batter from having a level swing. The batter's weight and balance is under better control when the stride is short. Preliminary movements of the bat before the pitcher throws the ball is all right. However, as the pitcher is in the act of throwing, the bat should be held motionless or fairly quiet. Young players should use a short or medium-sized bat which is not heavy. They should choose a bat that is balanced, fairly light, and that they can handle. The choice will vary from the thick handle type to the thin. Normally, the pull hitter or free swinger favors the thin, whereas the straightaway and opposite field hitter usually prefers the thick handle bat. No hitter should be allowed to bat without a batting helmet. It will possibly prevent a serious injury. Learning the strike zone is not easy. The batter has only a half a second to determine whether he should swing or hold back. Have the batter take his at-bat position at the pitching strings area while the pitcher is working on his control. On every pitch, the batter says ball or strike, then checks to see if it was in effect a ball or strike by seeing if the pitch went in between the strings designating the strike zone. This drill can help. Duke Snider learned the strike zone the following way. In practice, every time the pitcher threw a ball to the plate, Snider would call ball or strike, and a teammate would confirm it. Duke never swung the bat. This went on for 45 minutes a day for 30 days, and the drill helped Duke learn the strike zone and become an outstanding hitter. Duke Snider, because of his all-around ability, elected to the Hall of Fame in 1980.
Right.
Even the big leaguers use T-ball. The object is to concentrate on a level swing by hitting only the baseball. If the hitter has a tendency to uppercut, he will first hit the smaller piece of rubber prior to hitting the ball. It will become very obvious to both instructor and the hitter the flaw in the swing. If he concentrates on the ball and a level swing, he hits the ball. With a runner on first and less than 2 out, the batter is often called upon to hit behind the runner or take a shot to right field. There are 3 good reasons. First, the first baseman is playing near the base, leaving a big area between him and the second baseman. Second, less chance of hitting into a double play if the batter hits the ball to the second baseman's left. Third, if a base hit is made through the right side, the runner usually continues to third since the right fielder has a long throw to make. It is also good baseball for the batter to hit behind the runner when there's none out and a runner at second. If the ball is hit to the right side, the runner goes to third, and even if the batter is retired, you have a runner on third with only 1 out. Batting tips. 1. Maintain a balanced stance. 2. There should be a slight backward movement of the hands. 3. The batter should shift his weight backward and then forward with a controlled stride to his front foot. 4. The batter should keep his head and eyes on the ball. Putting the head down upon contact will help the batsman see the ball longer. 5. Try to hit the ball up the middle and then adjust, depending on whether the pitch is inside or outside. 6. Hit the ball to all fields. Use all the real estate. 7. Hit through the ball. Don't quit too soon. Swing through the ball.
Selecting a batting order is a tremendous responsibility by the manager and the coaches. Too many times you see hitters in the lineup in the batting order that don't belong in a particular situation. So when you are selecting a batting order for your team, it's very, very important that you put the proper players into the proper places. So let's begin in how we select a batting order. The number 1, the leadoff man, in most cases is someone that you want who has a good idea of the strike zone. He's going to be able to get a lot of bases on balls. He's a disciplined hitter, and one that you would like to have that can run. Because if this guy gets on the base, he's the particular guy that you would want to steal a lot of bases. So you're looking for that fast guy to lead off. The number 2 hitter is a guy that you would prefer to be a left-hand hitter, because when the number 1 man gets on base and he steals, it's more difficult for a catcher to throw to second base with a left-hand hitter in the batter's box than if there were a right-hand hitter. You also want a guy who can pull the ball from the left side. In other words, when that number 1 man steals the base and now you have a runner on second base and nobody out, that left-hand hitter hitting in the second slot must pull the ball to allow that runner to get to third base. Now, when he's on third base with less than 2 outs, he has a good chance of scoring from third base. So it's very, very important that you get a left-hand hitter in the lineup hitting in the second spot. In the third spot, you would want a guy that has good power, one who would make contact and one who very rarely strikes out. Because when you lead off the game, invariably you want that 4th place hitter to come to bat in that inning. Because the more times you get on base, the more times your number 4 hitter will come to bat. So it's very, very important that you have a good third place hitter. I can recall the Yankees in 1961 when Mantle was hitting third and Roger Maris was hitting 4th. You wouldn't believe this, but Mickey Mantle had never received an intentional walk, and that's the way you want it. So consequently, the 4th place hitter has got to be your power hitter. He's got to be your run production man. He's the guy that's going to have power. He's the guy that's going to be tough with men on base. And the 5th place hitter is a guy that you would like to have that is the opposite hitter than your 4th place hitter, because a number of times they might have an idea of walking the 4th place hitter. Let's assume that your 4th place hitter is a good power right-hand hitter. You'd like to have a left-hand hitter hitting behind him, because with a right-handed pitcher on the mound, the number of times they might be thinking about walking that 4th place hitter, but with a good left-hand hitter behind him or vice versa, they would deny the manager of walking that 4th place hitter. Your 6th place hitter in Major League Baseball, we call him the second cleanup hitter. He has to be a good RBI man, a guy that's going to get up there with a lot of opportunities in case the 4th or 5th man doesn't drive into runs, and a 6th place hitter has to be a guy that can drive in some runs for you. 7th place hitter is a guy that you're going to try to get in the lineup, and a guy who can do a good job for you both offensively and defensively. Now we come to the 8th place hitter. In most cases, a lot of people are under the impression that when you put the guy in the 8th spot, that he is the worst hitter on the team. And that is incorrect, because the 8th place hitter is an important part of the batting order. And I'll tell you why. Because when the 8th place hitter comes up with less than 2 outs, if he gets on the base with the pitcher hitting behind him, the pitcher can bunt and sacrifice that man over. If the 8th place hitter were to come to bat with 2 outs, it's very important that he be a good hitter, one who has good idea of the strike zone, one who has a good ability to get on the base. Because if he can get on base with 2 outs and the pitcher on deck, now the pitcher will get to hit that inning, and you won't have to lead off with the pitcher the following inning. So selecting a batting order is very, very important towards the winning and losing of many, many ball games. So when you sit down and as a manager of a team or a coach of a team and you are selecting your batting order, it's very, very important that you put the guys in the proper places where they belong.
A successful bunt is often the difference between victory or defeat in a close ball game. There are 3 types of bunts: the sacrifice, the offensive bunt for a hit, and the squeeze. When attempting a sacrifice bunt, the bunter gives himself up, sacrificing by bunting the ball fairly, advancing the runner or runners to the next base. On this play, the batter is not required to bunt the ball unless it is within the strike zone. If the pitch is a ball, he takes the pitch. Bunting at bad pitches only helps the pitcher, as these balls are difficult to bunt. The sacrifice is normally attempted from the batter's usual batting stance. The Dodger way of bunting is as follows. As the pitcher's front foot is about to touch the ground, the batter pivots his hips. Trunk and knees slightly bent, most of the body weight placed on the front foot. The fat end of the bat extended in front of the body points toward the pitcher. The bottom hand close to the waist, the top hand near the label of the bat. Thumb and index finger forming a V. The bottom hand the grip hand, the top hand the guide hand. As the ball makes contact, there's a slight give, analogous to catching the ball with the bat. When the tying or winning run is on second base late in a game with none out, the offensive manager may elect to bunt the runner over to third. The sacrifice in this instance a very good play, as the runner on third can score in 10 different ways with less than 2 outs. An infield hit, an infield out, an error, a wild pitch, a pass ball, a sacrifice fly, interference by the catcher, a balk by the pitcher, steal of home, and the squeeze play. The runner on second normally does not score on these plays. The bunter invariably finds the first baseman quite close to him. Consequently, the best placement is made midway between third and home near the third base line. The success or failure for base hits depends on the element of surprise and the proper placement of the bunted ball. The proper body action when trying to beat out a bunt is the same as hitting, except more weight is on the front foot as the ball is bunted. When a pitcher is a poor fielder or slow of foot, the drag bunt is attempted. It's also attempted if the first baseman is deep. The important thing is to place the ball past the pitcher's left side. The first step when dragging is a crossover step with the rear foot. The weight is transferred from the back foot to the front foot, and then a step is taken toward first base. It's actually more of a soft hit of the ball than it is a bunt. As the rear foot is about to hit the ground after crossing over, the bat makes contact with the ball. The top hand rolls, bringing the batting surface around, so the ball is pulled toward first base. The left-hand batter is nearer first because of his position in the batter's box. This factor and the deep first base position of the first baseman make the drag bunt a formidable play. When the third baseman is playing back, the left-hand batter attempts a bunt toward third base. The crossover step is again used, but the angle of the bat is different. The hands are brought away from the body. The fat end of the bat is angled so the hitting surface faces third. The ball is bunted close to the foul line and nearer to the third baseman's position than to the pitcher's. When the third baseman plays deep, the bunt down the third base line is attempted. On this type of bunt, the fat end of the bat is brought around so it is closer to the pitcher than are the batter's hands. The right hand slides up the bat, the bunting action similar to the hitting in a pepper game, except the right hand and wrist are rolled over. There are 2 types of squeeze bunts, the safety squeeze and the suicide or running squeeze. Both plays are good plays. The choice of either depends on the game situation. The squeeze play is a daring play. Its purpose is to score the runner on third through a bunt. The safety squeeze is used to score a runner from third, or when there are runners on first and third, to score the runner on third and advance the runner on first to second. The suicide squeeze is employed to score the runner from third, and the batter must try to bunt the pitch regardless of where it is. The base runner runs toward the plate as soon as the pitcher releases the ball. On the safety squeeze with a runner on third, the runner does not attempt to score until the ball is bunted safely. The bunt must be well placed. The batter does not attempt to bunt the ball unless it's in the strike zone. On the suicide squeeze, the batter acknowledges the signal by a prearranged sign, such as touching the end of his bat. If he does not acknowledge the signal, the play is automatically off. The runner on third does not run for the plate. The runner takes a good lead off third, starts for the plate as the pitcher's front foot touches the ground. The pitcher cannot change the intended flight of the ball at this point. There are times in a bunt situation, if you have a contact hitter at the plate, as the third baseman charges looking for the bunt, the hitter swings away to make contact, driving the ball by the third baseman who's on the move. Remember these tips on bunting. Number 1, the batter pivots his hips as the pitcher releases the ball. Number 2, body and feet slightly bent, most of the weight on the front foot. Number 3, the fat end of the bat extended toward the pitcher. Number 4, make the pitch be a strike when sacrifice bunting. Number 5, there's a slight give of the bat upon contact. Number 6, on the suicide squeeze, the batter must bunt the ball, hopefully on the ground. All base running is controlled by the game situation. The number of outs, the score, the ability of the base runner, and the fielder's arm are important factors on whether the base runner attempts to advance or not. When there are none out, base runners generally do not attempt to advance an extra base unless they are sure they can get to that base safely. Obviously, this is the smart play since there are still 3 outs left to score the runner or runners on base. Daring and aggressive base running plays are mostly attempted with 1 or 2 out. When there is a single to the outfield with 1 or 2 out, the runner on second invariably tries to score on the play. With a runner on first and 1 out, a single is hit to the outfield. It is normally considered a good play if the runner tries for third base. Naturally, this depends on the runner's speed plus other factors. This brings the runner into a better scoring position since he can score in more ways than he can from second. However, it's considered poor baseball for the runner to be thrown out going to third when there are 2 out. This is because the runner would be in scoring position had he stopped at second base. And, of course, the third out ends the inning. The worst single fault, apart from a lack of daringness and aggressiveness in base running, is a bad start from home plate. The player who follows the ball as he is running to first base decreases his running speed. This is many times the difference between being safe or out. After the ball is hit, and it is apparent that only first base can be reached, the batter immediately focuses his eyes on the base and runs just as fast as he can. If a throw is made to first base, he steps in the middle of the base, as this prevents a possible injury to the foot or ankle. Baseball rules permit a runner to run past first. However, if a motion is made toward second after he runs past first, the runner is out when tagged. The runner on first has a few important duties before he takes his lead off the base. The runner checks how many are out, if any, quickly sizes up the game situation, locates the outfielder's positions to determine where they are playing the hitters, and he looks at the third base coach for any possible signals. The runner on first also studies the pitcher's habits, mannerisms, and idiosyncrasies so that when he takes his lead off the base, he's familiar with the pitcher's moves. The normal stance is a comfortable one with the weight evenly distributed on the balls of the feet, the body in a crouch position with the knees slightly bent, the head and eyes on the pitcher. There are 3 types of leads off first base: the one-way lead, the two-way lead, and the walking lead. The one-way lead is used by the base runner to determine how much of a lead he can take on the pitcher. Most of the body weight is on the left foot. The runner's first motion or step is back toward first base. He can then determine just how much of a lead he can take safely and then assumes the two-way lead. The two-way lead means that the runner can go two ways. On this lead, the same stance as described earlier is used. The weight is evenly distributed on the balls of the feet. The body is in a crouched position with the knees slightly bent. If the runner returns to first easily in an upright position when the pitcher throws to first, it indicates that he did not take enough of a lead. On this type of lead, the runner walks off first base casually as the pitcher is taking his set position. Just as the pitcher indicates he's throwing home, the runner who has not come to a stop breaks for second. Thus, he gets a good start or jump towards second base since his body is moving in that direction. The Dodgers use a breaks and leads drill to develop base stealing ability. This drill is as follows. A pitcher, a catcher, and a first baseman are placed in their respective defensive positions. Then a squad of 3 players lines up one behind the other with the front player on the base path between first and second. As the pitcher comes to his set position, the 3 base runners take a two-way lead off the base. Now the pitcher pitches to the plate or he throws to first. The runners do not know where the throw is going. If it goes to the plate, they break for second, using a crossover step and running hard for about 10 yards, then jogging the rest of the way. If the ball is thrown to first, they all return to the base or baseline. If they break for second, another squad of 3 players who are waiting moves into the departed players' positions. If, however, a pickoff attempt is made and they return safely, they all rise and are given another chance to break for second base. Competition and rivalry among the squad should be stimulated when using this drill, as it tends to keep the players' interest and morale high. The Dodger teams, both in the minors and in the majors, have been noted for their ability to steal bases. The breaks and leads drill has helped considerably to develop that ability. The runner on second is already in a scoring position and should always be alert so that he is not picked off. He does this by constantly watching the pitcher and by listening to the third base coach. The steal of third is sometimes easier than the steal of second. One reason for this, pitchers become careless and do not try to keep the runner close to second by either attempting a pickoff play or by looking back more than once to the base. When a pitcher habitually looks at the runner only one time, the runner starts for third just as soon as the pitcher's head moves toward the plate. The runner takes his lead off third in foul territory. By doing this, the runner protects himself from being called out if he is hit by a batted ball. On all balls hit into the air with less than 2 out, the runner on third runs back to the base. If the ball is hit far enough or the fielder is in a poor throwing position, he tags up and dashes for the plate after the catch is made. Naturally, the third base coach controls the play. In tagging up, one foot rests on the base, the other foot points towards the plate. As the fielder catches the ball, the runner breaks for the plate, his first forward step being with the foot that is touching the base. Even when there is no intention of running home, it is recommended that the runner fake a play for home. This sometimes induces a bad throw, which eludes the catcher and a run is scored. The steal of any base is dependent upon a good lead, a quick start, and a good slide. Usually bases are stolen on the pitcher and not on the catcher. This is because most pitchers do not keep the runners close to the bases and they take too much time to release the ball to the plate. Since right-hand pitchers have their backs toward first base when they come to a set position, the runner on first generally takes a bigger lead on them than he does against a left-hander. In addition, some pitchers have these fundamental faults. They use an exaggerated leg kick, they point the left shoulder too far toward first, and they lean slightly with their bodies in the direction they're throwing the ball. These faults or weaknesses help the alert base runner tremendously in getting a quick start, as the runner will know the pitcher's intentions. When the base runner is on first, he's concerned principally with the pitcher's left knee and left shoulder. If an exaggerated leg kick is used, he breaks immediately for second, as this move differs from the pickoff throw to first. The most important duty that a base runner has is to make sure he touches all the bases. Whenever possible, the base runner touches each base with his left foot and dips his left shoulder toward the infield. The right foot then crosses over toward the next base. This procedure enables the runner to cut the bases instead of rounding the bases deeply. The bases are not touched in the middle of the base, but on the front end, which is nearest the pitcher's mound. If a base runner cannot touch a base with his left foot without breaking his stride, it is best he touch the base with his right foot. The proper approach of running to first base is made just outside the foul line in foul territory. Eyes focused on the base, and when the left foot touches it, the body pivots sharply towards second. If there is a single hit to the outfield, the base runner rounds the base and continues running until the fielder fields the ball. Good base runners will run about 30 feet past first on this type of play, and if the ball is fumbled, they will continue to second. When rounding third base, the runner is guided by the third base coach's signs or by voice. The waving of the left arm means to go to the plate. Hands raised overhead means to stop. Since most players are not in his line of vision, the base runner watches the third base coach as he nears third and again after he rounds the base. The venturesome and daring base runner creates and forces many errors. Infielders and outfielders, in attempting to hurry the plays, fumble the ball or make poor throws when they know that the runner takes chances. The real way to develop good base running ability is through sweat and hard work. Offensively, each club has 27 precious outs. These outs should not be wasted. Players should not use up these outs by making mistakes such as 1, missing a sign, 2, a mistake in base running, 3, not bunting a runner over on a sacrifice bunt, or 4, missing the pitch on a hit and run play. Sliding is rapidly becoming a lost art. A well-executed slide today is the exception rather than the rule. This occurs because it's the most under-taught and under-practiced fundamental in baseball. Seldom are young players seen practicing sliding. Usually the only opportunity that players have to slide is in a game. Even professional players, whose livelihood is dependent upon good performance in all departments of play, are woefully weak when it comes to sliding properly. Yet, sliding can be taught. Sliding is a falling to the ground in an attempt to elude a tag by a baseman. A slide is also used by base runners as a means of slowing up the forward motion of the body so that it stops at the base. It is always safe to slide whenever there is a doubtful play. Some players occasionally pull up to a base standing up. This sudden checking of running speed, however, is very hard on the leg muscles, and pulled muscles often occur. When a player makes up his mind to slide, he should go through with his original intention. The most serious injuries that occur in sliding happen when the runner is about to slide and at the last moment changes his mind. Unfortunately, the body which has been prepared for the slide cannot change as rapidly as the mind. This creates an indecisiveness in action which places the body in a half-falling, half-standing position. Finally, when the body does hit the ground, the spikes are firmly caught in the dirt or the feet are turned incorrectly, thus causing injury. A good policy for all base runners to follow is, when in doubt, slide. Proper sliding form includes a complete relaxation of the body as it is falling to the ground. The slide begins about 10 feet from the base, and the body momentum brings the player the rest of the way. The eyes are on the base constantly through the slide. The arms and hands are extended overhead in most sliding positions. There are 4 types of slides: the hook slide, the feet first slide or bent leg slide, and the head first slide. The hook slide is a fall-away slide to either side of the base in an attempt to elude the tag. The feet first slide is made straight into the base, as is the sitting-standing slide. The head first slide is generally directed toward the base, although the runner will slide to the side of the base when the fielder has his back turned to him. He reaches out to touch the base with his hand. Most players do not hook slide properly. This comes about because when hooking a base, the runner drags the leg behind him in a bent position, and the foot and toes, which are to make contact with the base, are the last part of the body to reach it. Therefore, the player slides approximately 3 feet too far. The 93-foot slide is a poor slide. 3 feet, reduced to a time element, is often the difference between being called safe or out on a close play. The bent leg slide is so named because the runner slides into the base in a bent leg position, and he quickly rises to a standing position. This type of slide is best used when the base runner realizes through the infielder's actions that there is no play to be made on him. In this way, he can check his speed by sliding instead of trying to stand up on the play and possibly pull a leg muscle. The bent leg slide is also used when it is obvious to the base runner that the throw is high or away from the base. This slide will enable him to get up quickly and advance to the next base. The head-first slide is often the cause for shoulder dislocations and other shoulder injuries because of the pressure placed in the shoulder region when the body hits the ground and the arms are extended. Another disadvantage of this type of slide is that on occasion the fielder will block the base, since there is no fear by the defensive player of being cut with the runner's spikes. The head-first slide should be restricted to diving back to bases. A practice that is employed by the Dodgers in the sliding pit is the sliding under the rope drill. The procedure for this drill is as follows. 2 coaches or players hold a rope about 10 feet from the base at waist level. The runner approaching the base is therefore forced to lower his back so that he slides under the rope. If he slides with his body high, he knocks the rope out of the hands of one of the coaches who hold it loosely, and he realizes that he slid incorrectly insofar as the body position is concerned. If he slides under the rope, then his body was properly aligned. Another drill that is used in the sliding pit is the sliding back to first base drill. For this practice, a pitcher and an infielder are used. The pitcher takes his set pitching position in relation to the base in the pit, about 67 feet away. The infielder plays the part of the first baseman when holding the runner on base. The runner then assumes a 2-way lead. When the pitcher whirls to throw to the infielder, the runner takes about 2 quick strides and slides or dives back into the base. This drill is an excellent one as it develops confidence in the player that he can return to the base safely.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tommy Lasorda. I want to speak to all the managers and the coaches. You know, when you are trying to build a baseball team, in many cases, you have to look at what I think is very, very important when you are selecting the players for your ball club. You know, let's talk about building a team. You see, there are a lot of young players who want to play certain positions only because their heroes play that position or that they are best suited for that position physically or mentally. Invariably, they come out and they start to think about this position only because they feel that that is the position for them. My advice to you is let them play the position that they want to play. Check them out. See what they can do at that particular position. And when you finally realize that he is not suited for that position, that's when you talk to the young man and tell him you'd like to try him at another position. After he plays that other position, now he knows that he is going to be able to contribute to your ball club. I think that is very, very important. Also, when you watch a young man for the first time, just watch how he catches the baseball. A lot of times these youngsters have a tendency to stab at the ball and they kind of catch the ball with stiff wrist. They'll never be able to play that position defensively. You must instruct them that when they do catch the ball, there has to be a slight give. So this way they will create what we call soft hands. If they can do that, they'll catch a lot more balls than they will miss them. Now, another thing that I think is important when you are starting to build a ball club, look at the running speed of your players. Running speed is the only thing that you use both offensively and defensively on a baseball club. Because let's say, for example, if you have a guy at the plate who can really run. Now, the opposing club, they know that this man has tremendous running speed. So let's say the batter hits a ground ball to the shortstop. Well, the shortstop, realizing the running speed of the batter, he invariably will rush to try to catch the ball, to try to get it to first base as quickly as possible. And in most cases, when they do that, they will miss the ball. Now, the next day you read in the paper, you say, the shortstop made an error to cost the team the loss. But in reality, the only reason he made that error was because of the tremendous running speed of the runner. So it's very, very important if you can put guys on your ball club that have running speed. Let's say, for example, a guy hits a fly ball or a base hit in between the outfielders. Well, the outfielders know that this guy can run, so they will do everything they can to rush themselves, and in many instances, they will again cause the ball to get by them. So running speed is very, very important when you are building a ball club. And I'll tell you another thing. You, as a manager or a coach, of a baseball team, your job is that if you can extract all of the abilities that those players have within them, and you can get them to put forth all of the abilities that they have within them, if you can get them to believe that they are outstanding baseball players, if you can get them to be proud of that uniform that they are wearing, and if you can get them to play for the team, and if those players report to you and they believe that they can beat any team around, and if they get forth all the effort that they have within them, you are going to be tough to beat. And remember one thing, when your players make a mistake, tell them about it. But more important, put your arm around them. Tell them how much you appreciate what they do for you. Tell them what fine young men they are and what type of baseball players they are in order to help your ball club. That player needs you when things are going wrong. So if you can get every guy on that team to do the best he can and give every bit of effort that he has within him, you are going to play championship baseball. Thank you very much.
So there you have it, the wonderful world of baseball, and in particular, the way the Dodgers play it. You now have the knowledge, and you have listened to some of the men who have made it all the way. Dedication, hard work, and constant practice are the ingredients that will help you improve your skills as a ball player. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be playing in the big leagues. I hope so.
Such a wonderful day for some baseball today. From round the town, the fans will come out to cheer, and for the cry of "Play ball!" they're waiting to hear. Such a wonderful day for a good time. We'll get us a hot dog or two. The fans will stand up and scream, "It's a home run for our team!" We'll know the Dodgers are winners today. So let's play baseball.